Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a deep dive into 7 of the worst new motorcycles that buyers often end up regretting. Let's get right into it. Number 7. Honda Shadow Phantom. The Honda Shadow Phantom definitely gives off that tough, bad boy image, but once you're actually riding it, the experience feels more like being stuck behind a minivan during rush hour. It has the blackout styling, the low-slung seat, and just enough attitude to convince you that spending around $8,000 gets you something edgy. But the moment you're in the saddle, reality hits harder than waiting at the DMV. That 745cc SV twin engine is about as thrilling as a lukewarm cup of decaf. It's fine for short city trips, but the second you try to merge onto the freeway, you'll be wishing you chose literally anything with more power. It's not just slow, it's the kind of slow that makes you question whether the parking brake is still on. Comfort isn't much better. Imagine sitting on a park bench with wheels. The rear suspension is stiff enough to transmit every pothole your city forgot to fix, and while the low seat height sounds nice on paper, it kills cornering clearance. You'll be scraping pegs before the fun even begins. As for tech, don't expect much. No ride modes, no traction control, and on some versions, not even standard ABS. For nearly $9,000, you're basically paying for a speedometer and instant buyer's remorse. Resale value drops faster than your excitement after the first week. Bottom line, the Shadow Phantom looks the part, but it lacks substance. You're paying for style, and the ride ends up being a let. Number 6. Harley-Davidson Nightster. The Harley-Davidson Nightster is supposed to deliver the soul of a Harley in a clean, modern package, but somehow it manages to fumble almost everything. With a starting price just over $13,000, it seems reasonable at first, until you realize what's missing. The 975cc Revolution Max engine sounds great on paper, but in real-world riding it feels more forgettable than fun. It lacks the punch and presence most Harley fans expect. Instead of a roaring cruiser, you end up with an identity crisis on 2 wheels. Build quality leans more toward plastic than premium. For a brand famous for solid steel, the Nightster feels like a cost-cutting exercise in disguise. The suspension is stiff enough to rattle your fillings, and the ergonomics are confusing at best. It's like Harley couldn't choose between a relaxed cruiser and a sporty cafe racer, so they split the difference, and it shows. Worst of all, once you add taxes, dealer fees, and the basic upgrades needed to make it livable, you're close to $16,000. At that price point, a used Fat Bob with actual soul starts sounding like a much smarter buy. Bottom line, the Nightster is what happens when tradition meets trendiness and falls short. Ride it long enough, and you'll realize it's not the Harley you proudly show off. It's the one you quietly trade. Number 5. Kawasaki Eliminator. The Kawasaki Eliminator looks like it should be a blast, but it ends up feeling like something you'd see on Craigslist with "must go" in the description. Priced just under $7,000. It's marketed as a sleek, modern cruiser. What you actually get, though, feels like a confused blend of beginner bike and midlife crisis. It's light and low, sure, but once you push past 55 miles per hour, that 451cc parallel twin engine starts sounding like it's begging for mercy. Twist the throttle and you quickly realize this is no muscle cruiser. It's like paying for a gym membership you never use. Comfort-wise, the seat feels like it was inspired by a cafeteria tray. After about 45 minutes, your back starts filing formal complaints. The rear shocks don't help either, especially if you weigh over 160 pounds or live somewhere with roads that resemble the moon's surface. Despite the so-called urban rebel image, it doesn't even include a gear indicator. You're basically guessing gears like a lost tourist. Fuel economy isn't awful, but the tiny 3.7-gallon tank means frequent gas stops for a bike that's supposed to be commuter-friendly. And resale? It hangs around the used market longer than a bad dating profile. In short, the Eliminator tries hard to be cool but ends up feeling like a cover band playing someone else's hit song. If it's on your list, you might want to eliminate. Number 4. BMW R18. The BMW R18 is a massive, head-turning cruiser that attracts attention for all the wrong reasons once you actually buy it, starting around $16,000 and quickly climbing past $20,000 with a few options. This bike becomes expensive garage art for many owners. Yes, the R18 is dripping with retro style and German engineering on paper. In reality, it's a bulky, awkward attempt to challenge Harley that trips over itself. The 1,800cc Boxer twin produces huge torque, but in city traffic it feels like too much engine with too little finesse. Weighing nearly 800 pounds, parking lot maneuvers turn into a strongman competition. Maintenance is pure BMW, oil changes, valve checks, and replacement parts all come with premium pricing. Drop it once, something many owners admit happens, and you're staring at a repair bill that makes you question your life choices. Resale value tanks fast, dropping quicker than day-old guacamole. Bottom line, the R18 looks incredible sitting in a showroom, but the moment you ride it, it turns into a regrettable Tinder date. Expensive, clumsy, and frustrating to... Number 3. Triumph Rocket 3. The Triumph Rocket 3 is a rolling contradiction, a bike built to impress and overwhelm at the same time. With a starting price around $24,000, it's one of the most expensive ways to say you bought way too much motorcycle. Yes, it features a ridiculous 2,500 ccs engine, the largest in any production bike. But that's like using a chainsaw to slice a birthday cake. At nearly 700 pounds, every ride feels like a workout. Taking corners or navigating traffic means you'll be sweating through your jacket. The power is there, no doubt, but comfort is not. The stiff rear suspension may look sporty, but when American roads deliver potholes the size of compact cars, your spine pays the price. Fuel economy is laughable, around 30 mpg if you're gentle, and no one buys a Rocket 3 to ride gently. Repairs. And insurance aren't kind to your wallet either. Triumph parts aren't exactly common, and if you tip it over, which is easier than you think, the repair bill will sting. The Rocket 3 ends up as a flashy showpiece trapped in a heavyweight body. It's proof that bigger isn't always better, especially when chiropractor visits are... Number 2. Harley-Davidson Road Glide. The Harley-Davidson Road Glide is a $25,000 mix of wind tunnel design and post-purchase regret. On paper, it sounds like the perfect touring machine. A big V-twin, frame-mounted fairing, and classic Harley attitude. But once the paperwork is signed, the illusion starts to fade. At nearly 900 pounds, it rides like a couch that didn't sleep well. Low-speed handling feels like leg day at the gym, and parking it is more like docking a boat. The infotainment system, which looks high-tech in ads, behaves like it was designed by someone who's never used a smartphone. Glitches, lag, and dropped Bluetooth connections turn long rides into long sighs. The Milwaukee 8 engine throws off enough heat to toast your legs within the first 10 miles. Despite the price tag, the suspension doesn't smooth out rough roads. It seems to announce every pothole instead. Fuel efficiency isn't great either, meaning frequent gas stops. And that exhaust note? Loud, yes, but more public nuisance than cool rumble. Resale value drops quickly. The Road Glide isn't a terrible bike, but it's an extremely expensive lesson in why test ride. Number 1. Indian Chief. The Indian Chief is the perfect example of all show and no go. It looks like a $17,000 slice of classic American motorcycle heritage, but ride it for a week and you'll quickly see where the money went. Straight into chrome, not performance. The 111 cubic inch engine and traditional cruiser stance sound great in theory. In practice, it handles like a barge on asphalt. At nearly 700 pounds, it corners with the enthusiasm of a retired buffalo. Feature-wise, it feels stuck in the past. No ride modes, no modern safety tech, and a digital display that makes a flip phone seem advanced. Ride quality is rough. The suspension feels like it was tuned by someone who believes discomfort builds character. Highway trips turn into chiropractor appointments, and city riding feels like punishment. Add in the heat, it roasts your thighs like a barbecue, and the experience gets old fast. Service access is another issue. Indian's dealer network is limited unless you live near a major city, and parts are expensive and slow. Resale value drops hard. The Indian Chief looks amazing in your driveway, but on the road, it becomes a chrome-covered regret machine. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe for more brutally honest motorcycle content.